William Lee B. Mancrdaaws' original story excerpt. The Scouter, Chapter 1. A Pissed Eagle. Even a pissed eagle gets a successful bounty when it counts. These were the words of Ali's mum, a, by then future standards, hippy-dippy woman who was of Irish extraction, but claimed that one side was partly West Indian and the other Choctaw, or Shatta, as she sometimes pronounced it as, somewhere. Whether there was any concrete proof to any of those claims, he never really knew, but nevertheless, due to her at face value worldliness, the boy absorbed every word, like pagans, Mormons, etc., listening in wonder to a creation myth. And, after all, Ali, Alwyn, he detests that nickname, Ali, came from a historically unconventional and serendipitous family background. His old man, Mr. Vinsky, was from a 90-plus-year-old line of Croatian gum diggers, settling down with Maori women, whose forefathers settled in New Zealand or Aotearoa 700-plus years ago, where they were stationed. In a generation or two, these direct descendants were called Talala, a Maori language nickname, fast talker, which was given to said migrant workers. Whether or not Vinsky Sr. was a descendant of a devoted family man or a laddish drifter wasn't known to Vic. The name Alwyn started going by in his middle school days, as he fancied himself a hard bastard in the making. But what he did know is that both of his parents reunited after their first initial meeting. Both were drifters, wayward spirits in their ways, and both fell for each other for the same reason, most of it due to being that they were both vaguely exotic to the other. From the moment he could toddle, Vic felt the presence of a spirit animal, as it were, regardless of whether it was a true spiritual presence, a gut feeling, an inner security blanket, or a background imaginary friend. He carried in him the blood of two cultures, who both respected, hounded, and feared birds of prey. His mum was right, though. A pissed hawk does get its bounty when it counts. Pissed. No doubt his dad taught her that word in the context that she meant it. At face value, those words would sound pretentious, but this would be philosophy Vic would fall back on throughout the trials of his life and his efforts to survive and thrive in a world that would at times try to pull one over on the unfortunate, the hapless, the weak. The Laundryman by William Lee J. Mancrdaaws. Chapter 1. His Cousin Jury. Jury often wondered about his baby cousin, Jum Garam. Could he tough it out in the business they were entitled to? That they helped essentially, symbolically, and metaphorically blacksmith into a stronger ally, as it were? Every now and then, he pondered about the military base he saw over the hill, across from where he grew up in the suburbs of Incheon. Then his mind wandered to the memory of when he first met little Gammy. Like many fatherless kids born during wartime and left behind post-war, he drifted around, trying to find a, by comparison, supportive, stable environment. But those experiences were no doubt even more tenuous due to him looking noticeably different once the average paddy farmer-looking man or woman had a good close look at the boy from Mother Tykes' age. Even those who were the spawn of foreign servicemen. Laundry. Jury almost scoffed one day. Back east, a simple laundryman, especially in a career practically torn up by China's and America's mutual paranoid bullshit, would barely have enough to buy wine and beer in order to wash week-old kimchi down. Jury himself would habitually steal spam, a tinned, originally stateside food that was still mildly popular with GIs and became more popular in Great Britain about a decade earlier. But in the West, he had connections. There was a sense of continually budding respect and a chance to climb a metaphorical ladder of sorts. Therefore, on that note, Jury saw potential in his little cousin. Even as a troubled, misplaced child, he had this look about him. Wily, observant, reflective. The last trait could be bad for business, but only if left unchecked. Otherwise, he had the stereotypical business brain not unlike a HSBC executive, but with the poker face of the scary but at times admirable servicemen he saw patrolling the hills and quarries of the outskirts of Incheon. Just you wait, Gammy. We're gonna be kings of the East, but before then, we're gonna be dukes of the West. End chapter. Yeah, this is a little novel series I've been working on. I mean, I've been kind of fixing to do this chapter, for quite a while, but I've been kind of inspiration again. If you've seen if you lot that are seeing this now or whenever you're seeing it, I've seen my fun facts episodes, and I'm still kind of working on the author name too. Mancrdaaws is from a few family names. Mankov or Manning, my nana's nana. C. Yeah, the C is basically the changing Mankov K from a K to a C. R is from my actual last name, Roberts. I mean, you'll see it if you see my comments and stuff on YouTube. That it's Liam Roberts. At Liam Roberts, 1458. So there's that, and the last bit, the Dawes, is from Dawson, one of my granddads. So yeah, hope you like this one. I mean, like with the Tia novel spin-off thing that I've also put on mainly put on. It's supposed to be a fan fiction story. This is hopefully going to be one day an actual published thing. But I thought I'd just, due to the inspiration of actually finishing this chapter, get an actual rhythm going with it, then I thought I'd upload onto YouTube, see what you lot think, and please do comment and all that kind of stuff. And thank you to the lovely commenter that liked my second episode of Fun Facts, obviously this week. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. Peace. The Laundrymen, Reclaimed Heritage. Part of the Bundle Tales series of novels. Includes The Laundrymen and The Scouter. Chapter 1. Norke. Vic was in a mood. He was conflicted. On one hand, he was grateful that his illegitimate son was raised by maternal relatives. On the other, he couldn't stand that the latter's values and outlook of the world throughout his childhood had been largely polluted by his greedy weasel of a cousin. He knew looking to change the past was ridiculous, but he would look at Dury, the weasel cousin, and see to himself about what a worm he is, and how he'd like to drown him in the nearest source of water, so as to get the son he found out the existence of, short of a year ago, away from him. Even if he ended up in foster care, he was confident that he could handle himself. The Sprog's mother was walking the streets when the Chinese, the North Koreans, and the Americans were splitting Incheon in two. Tough, independent women were hard to come by, not just in the 50s, but in the Far East in general. His Korean Kiwi offspring would have the toughness and the shrewdness of both his parents. I'm going to make you disappear one day, you bloody Norke. Norke. Vic was raised Talala, descendants of Croatians and the Maori. Norke, a Maori word, meant worm. That's what he nicknamed that arse-pissed Dury. He couldn't stand how the ugly midget had manipulated the boy with guilt trips based on relation. Perhaps he was simply biding his time, learning and learning, till he could tell that Norke to fuck off one day and cut ties with him. But cutting ties is harder than cutting the Gordian knot, an almost Herculean monumental feat. As one dislikes to admit, there's the anxiety over rejection, or being disowned, or simply being called ungrateful by the ones that brought them up. Vic knew that all too well. Well, what the fuck did they know about caring for your own? Hiding behind loyalty. Fuck 'em. I found love in my own way, and I fucked that too. Vic also wondered from time to time, in brooding moments like this, alone with motivational yet sickening existential thoughts, whether or not he was truly destined for the great white cloud. The idea of heaven that his maternal, paternal Maori ancestors passed down to his great-grandmother, was she herself among the deities of that pantheon? His own father, in his case, quite unlikely. His mother? Fuck it if he had the foggiest. But he presumed even less so. He could hear her in his mind. Oh, in this. Oh, in fucking that. Christ, he cringed at being called that. Perhaps it didn't matter, either way, since he was almost certain there's no way back to your former life from such a place. But a thought occurred to him. Technically, he was a deadbeat dad, and on the flip side of the countless afterlives, as there is a heaven in a majority of belief systems, then there's also a hell. And whether or not it was his way of trying to redeem himself to his estranged son, he would gladly send the boy's turd of a cousin to a death so terrible that he would be pleading to be swallowed up by whatever forces govern whatever hell he was destined for. Yet another thought occurred to Vic. Perhaps it wouldn't be smart in the long run to just make Dury the no-case suffering disappear. At least, not in the nearest future. He started to ponder. Dury was a worm, and even worms had their uses, when it came to the apple that started to form in Vic's mind. Vic, like Dury, survived by cunning, similar but different methods and traits of cunning, but cunning all the same. They also both had their variants of charm. Dury, though South Korean, was like that of a Taiwanese businessman, able to worm his way in with his stout stature and endearing takeaway smile. Vic was of an intimidating aura, which, used in tandem with his dogged, patient determination, to the point of obsession, was a cocktail that would get to the head of the most self-assured, uppity businesswoman. Vic would destroy Dury. but he would use his talents along with his earn to graft upon a short but sweet budding business empire, and when the little bastard felt secure into enough, felt like the king of Incheon, probably mock-affecting an air of Christopher Walken, the iconic fake WAP gangster, he would rip it all away from him and flush him until there was no trace of him. End chapter. The Laundrymen, Third Generation, by William Lee B. Mancrdaaws. Chapter 1. What Lolo and Abuelta Don't Say. Horea always knew she was different. Her mother didn't even need to say so. She could tell that she was even different from her mysterious grandfather, Lolo Al, she called him, whom she learned at the age of 13 was from New Zealand and had a series of misadventures, as he called them, and also spent years trying to reconnect with his own son, Horea's own father, who, according to Lolo, had been on a global quest to look more into the mystery of his own begetting. The Philippines had long been a melting pot of, at times, historically unstable cultures, along with the genetic legacy left on the islands and its native peoples. But Horea knew, deep down, there was more to her individual lineage. It would be another 15 years before Horea, now a headstrong but wily and uniquely breathtaking young woman, would take the farming skills she learned from her abuelta and the innate scouting wherewithal of her Lolo, and go beyond the hills of her remote yet packed village neighbourhood. If her mama weren't going to be open about the details of her paternal lineage, she would hunt down the answers herself. And she resolved that she wouldn't need a 23andMe or a damn Ancestry.com subscription to do so. Watch out, Papa Graham. Your baby girl has grown up strong. End chapter.